Hi, Dr. Munira. Welcome to our show. And
Thank
it's
you
such
so
a
much.
pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Priyanka. And then when I did my rotation in OBGYN and I witnessed, a delivery, a labor for the first time, it was such a beautiful moment, the baby coming into the world. And I said, no, that's where I want to be.
It is a very common topic, but still a lot of hush-hush around it. People, especially the females, they are still a bit reluctant or they feel a bit hesitant to discuss it openly, despite of being working or not working.
I think the women are today more well informed and they are more proactive. So, in the beginning, yes, we would not really have discussions about these topics. But nowadays, I feel a lot of patients, let's say they're coming to me for a different gynecological problem.
I think we can see like maybe you could say either it could be a modern lifestyle or maybe the eating habits or it could be anything. Even the young girls these days, they can see a lot of changes in their bodies.
It's more of a sedentary lifestyle. There's just coming home, sitting, being on your gadgets, not really going out and playing. Like, when we were young, we used to have like, okay, you have to go out and play, and then there would be a time for doing your studies and time to play outside.
Right.
Now, I don't think there is any specific time to play outdoors.
Many young girls these days, they are growing up without the proper education about their bodies or about the health or the reproductive health. Like, what reproductive health conversation do you think they should be aware about well in advance so that they can actually prepare themselves mentally?
I think the conversation should start right from the school level. So it should be the mother, the teacher, who should be introducing the idea of reproductive health. And, if these conversations are made common, the embarrassment around it goes away.
Awareness is very much important, and I think it should start first from the family itself, and mother is the main person who can actually communicate in such a way which it will not look more like a taboo topic.
What we are noticing nowadays, because I'm a fertility specialist, and there's a lot of girls who come to us when they want to try for a baby, and it's already too late.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of HerTalks. Some conversations are not just important, they are necessary. Today's episode is about the stories we don't always say out loud, the questions women carry quietly, the fears they normalize, and the strength they show even when their bodies and hearts feel tired. Our guest today has spent decades walking alongside these women through some of their most vulnerable moments. From adolescence to motherhood, from hope to heartbreak, from uncertainty to courage. This is not just a conversation about medicine or fertility. It's about understanding your bodies without fear. It's about giving young girls the right knowledge early or very early. It's about supporting working women who are trying to do it all without any guilt. If you are a woman, a mother, a daughter, or someone who cares about women's health, this episode is for you. Take a breath, lean in. This conversation matters. So let's all welcome Dr. Munira F. Hi, Dr. Munira. Welcome to our show. And
Thank
it's
you
such
so
a
much.
pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Priyanka.
Okay. So you have spent almost 3 decades in obstetrics and gynecology, and the fertility care as well.
That's right.
So when you look back, what first drew you to this field? What was the major interest of yours?
Actually, the interest started right from school. The white coat always fascinated me somehow. And so I had made up my mind right in school. I guess I was in maybe the 8th grade or something that I want to be a doctor.
Okay.
I worked towards it, got into medicine. And then, when we were doing, so what happens in MBBS, you do your clinical rotations in different departments. And then when I did my rotation in OBGYN and I witnessed, a delivery, a labor for the first time, it was such a beautiful moment, the baby coming into the world. And I said, no, that's where I want to be. So yeah, I guess that was the beginning.
Nice. I think the topic which we have chosen for today is, I would say it is a very common topic, but still a lot of hush hush around it. People, especially the females, they are still a bit reluctant or they feel a bit hesitant to discuss it openly, despite of being working or not working. What has changed the most in how women approach their reproductive and health and the fertility in today's scenario?
I think the women are today more well informed and they are more proactive. So, in the beginning, yes, we would not really have discussions about these topics. But nowadays, I feel a lot of patients, let's say they're coming to me for a different gynecological problem, but they want to pose that problem, that not problem as such, but they want to ask, what do I do about my, what about my fertility status? I want to know where I stand today. Especially, if they are in their mid-30s, they haven't yet found a partner. So they have started discussing about it. I think amongst their friend circles also, they have a lot of friends who have gone ahead and, preserved their eggs. So the stigma is not there anymore. They're being really proactive, proactive, I must say.
Okay. But nowadays, I think we can see like maybe you could say either it could be a modern lifestyle or maybe the eating habits or it could be anything. Even the young girls these days, they can see a lot of changes in their bodies, which when we compare with the past time, it wasn't there. So what is your take on that?
If you compare, see, from the previous generations to the little girls now, it's more of a sedentary lifestyle. There's just coming home, sitting, being on your gadgets, not really going out and playing. Like, when we were young, we used to have like, okay, you have to go out and play. And then there would be a time for doing your studies and time to play outside.
Right.
Now, I don't think there is any specific time to play outdoors. So I think the most important thing I would say is a sedentary lifestyle, which has creeped in, and that is causing a lot of issues, weight gain, and weight gain itself brings in a lot of hormonal imbalances, and we're seeing a lot of girls with polycystic ovaries because of that.
Okay. But many young girls these days, they are growing up without the proper education about their bodies or about the health or the reproductive health. Like, what reproductive health conversation do you think they should be aware about well in advance so that they can actually prepare themselves mentally?
I think the conversation should start right from the school level. So it should be the mother, the teacher, who should be introducing the idea of reproductive health. And, if these conversations are made common, the embarrassment around it goes away. And it should be, imparted in a very scientific manner. So I think the girls should feel very comfortable talking about their menstrual cycle or if there are any issues, surrounding it. And if we do that, then that should not be, if you explain to them the whole physiology of the menstrual cycle and what is the purpose of the menstrual cycle. So every month you are having the cycle because it's in preparation for a pregnancy. Right. And that's the most basic important thing. And when you're not pregnant, you bleed. So that's the menstrual cycle. If that is explained in a scientific manner to the young girls, and they are, made comfortable and they are made to feel that it's fine to talk about any problems associated with that, then I think there should not be any issues.
Okay, and accordingly, what should be that ideal age where they will not feel embarrassed? At the same time, they will understand the importance of this particular education.
See, I think, in my opinion, the education should start from, let's say, a little before the menarche. That means menarche is when your first period sets in. Okay. So they are already prepared. They know something is going to happen. It's not like something alarming, when they start bleeding the first time. So a little bit. And nowadays we are seeing that the age of menarche is really coming down. Previously it used to be 12, 13 years. Now we are even having 9 and 10-year-old girls, who are getting their first menses. So I think a little bit of education should start from there. So you talk to them about what to expect, and then about the menstrual hygiene, which is important, what they should do, take care of themselves, prevent infections, how do they manage, those days. All that education should be given at that time.
Okay. We always believe that your body always give you a sign,
Correct.
right? So, what are the signs and the signals your body generally give, or the body of a teenage girl? She gets the signals where she will understand, or maybe she should never ignore, but we should normalize it more after discussing if they're aware about those signs and the signals.
So basically, anything which is not regular. So if their menstrual cycles are not regular,
Okay.
Or they are extremely heavy, or they are extremely painful, then definitely they need to see what happens. Generally, the mothers say, oh, this is fine, this is okay, even I went through it. It's fine, okay, you can observe it for 3 months, observe it for 6 months, but not more than that. If it is continuing more than that,
Right.
it's definitely not okay. And there is no harm in getting a checkup done. Yes, you don't need to panic, but you don't need to ignore the signs also. I mean, I find many mothers bringing in their daughters, and they are not really aware. So they come when there's a huge problem, like, okay, the girl has been bleeding continuously, let's say for 20 days. But when they come in for a consultation, then the mother is not aware what is the regularity of the daughter's menstrual pattern, how many days she bleeds, does she have pain or not. So that conversation should be there from before, and they should be aware of what's happening.
Okay. I think you have raised a very important point here, that is awareness.
Correct.
Awareness is very much important. And I think it should start first from the family itself. And mother is the main person who can actually communicate in this in such a way which it will not look more like a taboo topic to discuss among the family. But what do you think, like the mothers and the school and the other community, they can actually join hands to bring more awareness about these things?
So it should be, see, from the family point of view, I think your mother is the best, first communicator for this. Then will be your school teacher. So if you're going to introduce this topic to the girls in the school in a scientific manner, they are already aware of this. And it's your mother's touch plus scientific information put correctly. And then you can start having, then obviously at that young age, they will be curious. They will be starting to have conversations with their peers. But again, there's no embarrassment attached to it. There's no taboo attached to that topic, So they're very openly, you can discuss about this then. This is what I feel.
Okay. So,
I mean, I'll tell you, to put it into perspective, I'll tell you about my own thing. For when I attained menarche, I was never explained. And when it first happened, my mother just told my aunt to take me in a room and explain how to use the sanitary napkins. That's about it. I did not have any other information why this is happening.
Right.
And what we should do about it. Okay, I was just told, okay, this will happen every month and this is how you need to take care of it. But why this is happening and what I should do if it is not happening in a correct way, nobody, explained that to me. And there was no follow-up after that. That, okay, what's happening? Is everything going okay? So this is very important. This is very important.
Okay. But parents nowadays, they are more educated, they are more evolved. Time is changing.
Absolutely.
But still, there are certain reasons in the world where the education, the lack of education is there, where still,
Maybe it's not even the lack of education, it's just that the awareness. The education is there, but the awareness of how important it is to impart that information to your young girl, that is probably lacking somewhere.
Okay. So let's move this topic from young girls to the working professionals, and especially let's talk about the women. Most of the females nowadays, they are working. And when you are working, like, you have to juggle your family and you have to juggle your work. Long hours will be there, more stress will be there, and deadlines, career, so many things are there. So how does this lifestyle actually impact the reproductive health over the time?
So this is a very, very, very important issue here. What we are noticing nowadays, because I'm a fertility specialist, and there's a lot of girls who come to us, when they want to try for a baby, and it's already too late because they have, spent most of their, reproductive years where they were most fertile, working, trying to juggle so many roles in a lot of stress. And when they actually then have the financial means and the time to think of a family, their biological clock is already not with them. So that becomes a main issue. See, here what I would like to, explain to all the ladies, that women, we are different from men. Men can produce new sperms every 3 months, but we women are born with a fixed number of eggs, and that is the main difference. So we cannot produce new eggs. We are just going to use them from the basket of eggs that we were born with. And as we grow old, this is depleting, this reserve is depleting. Now, we are healthy, the menses are regular. Overall, we don't have any other health issues. So we feel we are okay. But there is a silent decline of this ovarian reserve from the age of 35. After the age of 38, it's quite rapid. And after 40, it's steep. So imagine if you're going to start thinking about a family at the age of 37, 38, you've already lost most of the good eggs. And that's where the problem occurs. And then it's difficult, I wouldn't say impossible, but many a times it becomes difficult to conceive naturally. And then you have to resort to fertility treatments. So this is where the main difference sets in. And this awareness is not there. See, the thing is, and also the media does not give you the correct information. You look around you, you look at all the celebrities, all the heroines, conceiving twins even in their 40s. But nobody gives you the real information. Did they use their own eggs? Did they use the frozen eggs? Or did they use donor eggs? We don't know about it. Right. So this is where we need to understand, where we stand. Our age is not equal to our ovarian age. And that's, we need to think about that. So if, we need to make time. I would say not to defer conception if possible, but if not possible, think about fertility preservation.
Okay, so this thing which you have just mentioned, is really a very big impact. Social media. Mm-hmm. The picture what they have, they are showing may be entirely different, and maybe the same thing will not be applicable for you and for your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
But are you seeing the changes in the fertility as of working women when we will compare the one who has a very flexible lifestyle?
See, the thing is, yes, definitely for working women, maybe, sleep deprivation, long hours of work, sitting for long periods of time at the desk, all that stress, all that affects your fertility, for sure. Not to say that, you don't have these issues with non-working women. Hormonal issues can affect anybody. But yes, the working woman has that added stress, associated with it. There are some professions, for example, girls who are, let's say, cabin crew. They, even if they're married, they want to try for a family. But they are not together during the fertile period. They're losing so many months. Your fertile period, your fertile window is very short in a month, right? So you may easily lose that every month if you are not able to, make time. And not just cabin crew, there's so many professions where, you're working late hours and you're just not able to cope up. So that puts an added stress.
Okay. But if a person, a female who is working, but she is healthy and she is maintaining the proper healthy lifestyle, giving the time to her health, exercise, eating healthy, everything is going on, then there will not be any complications or the issues.
Most of the times, yes, but we still don't know. And that's where we need to assess our ovarian reserve. This is, our many a times we do, girls mimic the menstrual pattern of their mothers. And let's say if you have in your family your mother or your elder sister who had an early menopause, that should be a warning signal for you. Or if you have had some ovarian surgery when you were young, then that should be a warning signal, and you should, test your ovarian reserve earlier. Otherwise, also, I would say it is a good idea for all women to get their, ovarian reserve or fertility potential checked. We have some blood tests, very easily done, and you can get the answers. And many a times, we are surprised that, as you said, young, healthy girls, there are no other problems, but suddenly we find that their, reserve is coming low, and for reasons unknown yet to us, So there are few cases of premature ovarian decline as well. So we need to consider that. So I wouldn't say it's absolute that if everything is looking healthy on the surface, it should be the same with your ovaries as well.
Okay. So for this screening, what do you recommend any certain age for this?
I would see, the thing is, you can early 30s would be the best time, because that's, I think, the most of the ladies would start thinking about starting a family around that age. So I think that should be the best time to do it.
Okay.
But if you are already having some family history or some history of surgery, or if your periods have always been irregular, then test earlier.
So just the way we say that we should go for our regular body checkup every 6 months or so, we should go for our reproductive cycle checkup as well after a certain
Yes,
6 months or what?
Even if it's every year, it's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Once a year is also fine, as long as you're having. So definitely have one gynecological check, whether you are, if everything is okay, even if you're healthy, it's for a screening. It's very important to have that health check. It's like financial planning. The way you do financial planning, do your reproductive planning as well. You may not want to do something now, but at least you have your answers so that you can plan for the future.
Right. And if suppose they are working and but they do not have time, or maybe they are not prepared mentally or maybe financially, you could say, physically, to have a baby or something like that. So is there any solution for that?
Fertility preservation is a solution.
Okay.
So we can freeze the eggs.
Okay.
But of course, that also requires a physical and emotional and financial commitment. But it's definitely better than not doing anything.
It's just like when you are prepared mentally, then you can utilize it. It's
Yes.
just like you have done a kind of a saving.
Yes, exactly. It's a backup plan. It's a
Okay.
backup plan. Today, if you are, you are single, you haven't yet found the right partner, but you definitely want to start a family at some point of time. But you don't know when it's going to be, when the right person is going to be there on the horizon for you. It would be a very good idea to consider fertility preservation.
Okay. And according to you, what are some good health habits which a working women can adopt without making them very overwhelming?
Basically, just to be healthy, it's eating healthy, sleeping at regular intervals, exercising regularly. So sedentary lifestyle is a complete no-no. Even if you're having very long working hours, what I usually tell my patients, keep a time every 1 hour, get up, just stroll, 10 minutes and come back and sit at the desk. Even if that much, if you do, it's okay. Over the weekends, you can join some proper exercise program. Avoid smoking and alcohol. Very, very important. So this is something that I would definitely say that, to avoid smoking and alcohol, because that would definitely affect your, the quality of the eggs that you make. So that's something you need to keep in mind.
And I think this is very easily doable things, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, anybody who wants to be fit, active, or healthy can use these things like
Absolutely.
a morning walk or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
nothing needs that you have to plan or prepare your calendar or something like that accordingly.
Exactly.
Okay. So what are the most common myths around fertility and IVF that you encounter, especially among working or high achieving women?
So again, the most common myth is that they think that it is, you can get pregnant at any age just because you are healthy. Otherwise, your periods are regular. They feel that it's, you can get pregnant at any age. And if you can't, then, IVF is always a guaranteed method, but it's not. So this is the myth, that no, you can't. It's better to, not to defer conception because your good eggs are going away by your 30s. And IVF is just a method to get you pregnant. You will, even with IVF, you can only get pregnant if you will produce a good quality egg. So this is something that they need to keep in mind.
So you recommend that fertility preservation is a better idea always?
Yes, true, but no, again, that should not be like, that it's not a sure shot. That is also, nothing is guaranteed in fertility treatment, unfortunately. See, you may freeze the eggs, but there are a lot of things involved after that. Let's say after a few years, you want to use those eggs, you thaw them, all may not survive on thawing. You fertilize it with the sperm, all may not fertilize. Again, after fertilization, you want to, you're going to observe them for a few days before they form the embryos. All do not last. So your numbers keep declining and they may not implant and be successful. So it's not a guaranteed method, but at least it's something better than not doing anything.
Right. Okay. So is there any duration for this thing, for preservation?
Duration in the sense, you mean how much time it takes?
How much time it takes and for how long they can actually preserve? Is there any duration for it or?
So when a lady comes for counseling for fertility preservation, the basic steps involved. So first is we do a general assessment of the health that to rule out any hormonal issues or something. The second thing is, starting them. It's like basically you prepare your body as if you're preparing for a pregnancy, so trying to be as healthy as possible, start taking your supplements, folic acid, diet, exercise, everything, you correct that. Then you counsel them about the whole procedure, how it takes. So it involves hormonal stimulation. You stimulate the ovaries to make more eggs in a cycle. So that generally will take about 10 to 12 days, for your ovaries to be ready. And then you retrieve those eggs. So the whole cycle would be complete in about 2 weeks. So that is fine. And then you can store, according to the government regulations over here, you can store it for 5 years. If you want to store for more time, you again take a renewal permission from the Ministry of Health. But it's like a contract that you enter with the fertility center. So every year you have to renew the contract to keep the eggs frozen.
Okay, and why this number 5 years we have decided? Is there any specific
We have
reason?
not decided. It's the government who has decided that. But then we can freeze them for a longer time as well. You just have to take the permission again.
And does different country have their own different set of rules?
Probably, most probably. But also, we are able to, let's say, after 5 years, maybe you're not staying here and you're staying in a different country. We are allowed to even transport the eggs to another country.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So, as you were discussing about the preservation of the eggs for the pregnancy, let's talk more about that. Why is postpartum care often overlooked, especially for the working mothers returning to their careers? I think this is something which is again needs an awareness.
Absolutely.
Most of the people, they are not even aware what exactly the kind of a care treatment a mother needs.
Yes, definitely. Because what happens is most of the times after the birth of the baby, the focus is on the baby. The focus is not on the mother at all. The mother just becomes a caregiver, and if she's a working mom, they don't have enough of maternity leave, so they're just thinking about going back to work. So this is very, very important. There are a lot of things to be discussed in the postpartum period. Your health, you've gone through labor, you've gone through a stressful period. Have you restored your health back? It's not going to happen in a day. How are you going to work towards it? Have you done your checks? Have you seen whether your hemoglobin is okay or not, or you become anemic? Are you taking your supplements for iron and calcium? Are you breastfeeding? You should have a proper lactation consultation. Are you doing it in the right way or not? Exclusive breastfeeding. And especially for working mothers, let's say you're going to go back to work in 6 weeks' time, but you don't want to deprive your baby. Where is that information, of how you can store your breast milk? What is the correct way? How you can, at what temperatures and at what, how much time you can use for that stored milk. So all that information needs to be given. For herself, getting back, into shape, health-wise, diet-wise, exercise-wise, and also very, very important about the pelvic floor exercises that she needs to do, to restore the tone of her pelvic floor muscles if she's undergone a normal, vaginal delivery. So all this conversations need to take place. So a postpartum checkup with, your gynecologist is very, very important. We also do a lot of tests, to check your sugars, your full blood counts. A pap smear is taken, at your postpartum visit. One more important thing that needs to be discussed during this visit is the contraception. Because you've just delivered, you don't want to get, pregnant soon again. So what is the best method that you can use for contraception, which is not going to come in the way of your breastfeeding? So all this conversation needs to take place.
Again, it needs an awareness for the families as well. And for your spouse.
Yes.
I guess. They should also be aware about these things.
Very true. Yeah. Very true.
And rightly mentioned, like, all the attention transferred to a baby actually, and mother has to survive on her own most of the time.
Correct.
Okay, so you have supported thousands of women through deeply emotional situations as well. What keeps you hopeful in those moments?
It's, I guess, the joy and smile that they get on their faces when they are holding their babies in the hand. I think that is the only thing which motivates me to keep going, Nothing more precious than that, because you feel so blessed that, you're a part of that journey for them, especially, for fertility patients who are trying for years to conceive. And, when you get that positive result, there is no other joy to compare.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I want to understand, like, what is the thought which is there in a doctor's mind when they are going to actually to be in the OT, or maybe when they are going to help a female to deliver a baby at that time?
The most important thing for us is the safety of the mother, of course, and the safety of the child. So this is the most important thing for us at that time.
So, have you ever faced a very complicated case in your journey? I'm sure. I mean, like it's a 20-25
I mean,
years.
yeah, over the years, definitely. But yeah, with God's grace, you tend to manage manage it somehow. But yeah, definitely.
Okay, so if you could leave young girls and the working women with one piece of advice or message about their bodies and the choices, what would it be?
I would say self-love. Okay, prioritize your health. It's not wrong to prioritize your health, and it's not wrong to think about yourself first. So keep yourself first before everything else, because if you are healthy, you are, going to keep your family healthy. That is important. So I would say just self-love.
And I think this is a very wonderful advice because most of the time, especially the mothers, I would not generalize it to working moms or moms staying at home, especially the mothers. The moment they become mothers, all their attention move to their child, like what they eat, what they are doing, and they sometimes forget about their own health.
Correct.
Even the daily routine checkup and everything, sometimes they just skip.
That's true. That's very true.
So this is very important, and thank you so much for spreading the awareness about how the young girls should get educated, how the healthy lifestyle will be helpful for both the working women as well as the young girls, and to the mothers staying at home and postpartum. The health, that is very important. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Priyanka. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
If there's one thing we hope you take away from today's conversation, it's this: you are not overthinking, you are not alone, and your body deserves care, understanding, and compassion at every stage of your life. Whether you are a young girl learning about your body, a working woman who's still navigating or balancing ambition and health, or someone navigating fertility, pregnancy, this is for you.